Hey guys, it's Angie, also known as The Light. Welcome to my channel. Like, subscribe, share. And if you'd like to make a donation to me, my PayPal information will always be in my description box. Thank you to those who have been donating. I really appreciate you all. When you donate to me, I will email you to thank you, of course, and then I'll ask you, do you have any questions that you would like me to do a video on? So, meaning you have a question, something that's personally happening to you, happened or is happening to you when it concerns a narcissist, and I will answer you in your own video. No donation is too small or too large. So my PayPal information will always be in my description box. Okay, anyway, so today I want to talk about how the narcissist competes with you. They find you to be basically their competition. And you know, you never see this competition coming. Probably you're not a competitive person. You just do you. You go on through life trying to basically compete with your old self. And that's how I've always been as well. Or, your self-esteem probably was just too low to even think that you are competition for anyone. And I've always thought that way. I've never felt like, oh, I was good enough, for anyone to be jealous of me because of, the lack of things I had financially, or the lack of family that I have. I never thought that I had anything for people to be jealous of. But guess what? The narcissist is extremely, extremely jealous of you. You are everything that the narcissist wishes they can be, and that's what made them attracted to you in the first place. One, because you didn't have boundaries, so you were an easy target. Because you don't have boundaries, you probably are too giving and do too much for individuals, and that's what made you the easy target. Another reason why the narcissist chose you is because you possess all of the qualities that they wish they had. Okay, so they'll be around you and they'll observe you and admire you and take notes, and they're going to act just like you to get what they want from you. Or they'll take your personality traits and your movements and your style, and they're going to use it. They're going to copy how you act, how you respond to things, your maturity level, and they're going to go and use that same behavior to capture more supply from other people. I grew up with this girl. I actually met her in church. And back then I had no idea, what narcissism was. And the reason why I started to be her friend in the first place was because she was very awkward and uncool type. And I kind of felt bad for her. She was the oldest of 6 children, but she didn't grow up with her mother. Her mother had multiple baby daddies, and her sister grew up with the mother's mother, her grandmother. And her grandmother was a professor at NYU, so she didn't really focus on raising the 2 girls. She really just did the best that she could. I'm not sure how this girl's mother was raised, but to me, her mother always seemed very spoiled, okay? The grandmother was definitely not a narcissist. I don't remember the grandfather because he died pretty young, I think in his 50s. But I know that the grandmother was definitely a codependent, but for some strange reason, this particular girl that I was hanging out with. Let's call her Tina. Tina was definitely a narcissist, and Tina's grandmother was just so sweet. Oh my goodness. I spent a lot of time with Tina's grandmother. Her grandmother was a codependent, very loving, very giving, and this happens a lot of times with these narcissistic children. You can actually, to me, not giving your children discipline, not giving your children boundaries is a form of abuse. You have to discipline your children. I'm not saying you have to beat your children, but teaching your child right from wrong and not giving them discipline is a form of abuse, because they go into society and they become these narcissists, and they think that, they don't have to take responsibility for their actions against people in society, and then when they start to date, they start treating people like crap because, their behavior was never addressed. And this is what happened with this little girl. I'm calling her little girl, but this is what happened to Tina when she was growing up. This is what I've processed from everything that I have dealt with Tina. So Tina is Tina's about 2 years younger than me. When you're a teenager, someone 2 years younger than you seems like they're 10 years younger. Of course, it didn't matter as we got older. But back then, I looked at her like, younger than me. Narcissists are like children, not like they act like children. They are children trapped in this adult body, and she always seemed much, much, much younger than me because these narcs are not developed emotionally and mentally at times. It's almost as if they froze in time, and she had a horrible relationship with her biological father as well. So I can see why she turned into a narcissist. I was always told to always, be forgiving. When I was growing up in this religious background, I was always told, be forgiven and keep giving people chances. I was never, how can I say this? I was never really confronting people on their behavior towards me. I just sat there and took the shit. So when you're a codependent, you just take the shit. That's it. I took shit from my family, and I took shit from my, friends, and this is what I just knew. But anyway, so Tina and I had a very strained relationship, and it was always basically she would do something foul and I would forgive her, and then we would just go back to the friendship. Okay, so being codependent, I was always very giving, always giving myself emotionally, sexually, physically, giving money, giving food, giving clothes. And this became basically the kind of relationship that Tina and I had. Tina, Tina was lazy. Put it that way. Tina was a singer. She can sing just as good as Whitney Houston. But a lot of these narcs do not know how to piece together their life. They just do not have the capacity to, I guess, make a living for themselves. Her life was based on just using people. So she would come to my house and eat my food, and she was a bigger girl like myself, and she would basically come to my house, drink my liquor, eat my food. I would give her bags of clothes, things that I didn't like anymore or didn't fit anymore, and she would wear my stuff. And Tina was one of these friends that will call your house, or your cell phone at 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay? 3 o'clock in the morning. And would be ripping and raving and ranting on the phone like, oh, this guy did that, and this guy did this, and this, and that. And this is what these narcissists, she would just be dumping all her emotional shit on me. And I kept answering her calls like a fool, okay? And I noticed, like, later on in the friendship, Tina was literally competing with me. So one day it was Tina's birthday, and we drove out to Long Island, and she wanted me to be there to support her in, like, basically her birthday hunting for her dress and her shoes and all that stuff. So I said, okay, well, I'll go with you. So we drive out to Long Island, New York, and we go to a dress store called Estelle's. Actually, it's a really, really great, dress store for weddings and everything, parties, whatever you name it. But anyway, so we get to the dress store, and I'm like, you know what? While I'm here, let me try on a dress because, you know, I may need a dress. So, hey, let me try on a dress. So I pick up this purple dress and I go into the dressing room. I try on the dress and I'm like, oh my gosh, this dress is gorgeous. And she's just like, oh, why don't you come out, because I want to see how the dress, you know, looks on you. So I come out and I see her face and she's all like, just staring, looking at me. Like, the jealousy on her face was just so disgusting. Like, I will never forget that look on her face. And I was just like, well, do you like the dress? And she's like, yeah, it's all right. It's okay. It's cool. And I was like, okay. So the dress was like over $100. So I went back in the dressing room, put my clothes on, and I did not have the $100 that day. So I said, you know what? I'll come back, you know, next month sometime and, you know, buy the dress. So I was like, well, did you try on a dress, you know, in the dressing room? And she was just like, yeah, I didn't like it. I'm like, okay, so are you going to get a dress today? And she was just like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to buy that dress that you just tried on. And she went over to the rack, found her size, and bought the dress that I tried on. And this is what narcissists do. You got to understand, like, you are the prototype of who they wish they can be, okay? And things like that would happen between her and I just would blow it off. I thought it was strange that she did that, but I did not know what narcissism was at that moment. And believe it or not, it's so crazy. She had me out with her, running around with her like I'm some freaking errand girl, helping her pick her dress, her shoes, and, you know, finding all these different things for her, being her moral support, her friend, you know, while she found these items for her birthday. Would you believe that she didn't even invite me to her birthday party? And this is what the narcissist will do. This girl had a birthday party in Club 4040, which is Jay-Z's club. Didn't even invite me to the party. And when I asked her, why didn't you invite me to your party? She was just like, oh, it was last minute. I really didn't put the party together, and, you know, my friends. And I was to be like, who are these friends? Because when you need help with something, you're always calling me. And this is what the narc does. You're their supply. These narcs don't have friends. You're never a friend to the narc. Okay, they're just using you. And you start to see that these people really never have friends, because when the shit hits the fan, they're in the hospital, they're sick, their mama died, their dog died. None of those people who they call friends are there. It's you. It's you. The high supply, the one that they've been using all that time. You're the one that comes to their rescue. Okay, so let's move on to another situation I had with Tina. Oh boy, Tina began to sadly to say, Tina's mom passed away, okay? Tina's mom died, and when her mother died, her mother left her like over $100,000. And I'm telling you now, narcs are very frugal with their money. They're not responsible when it really comes to money. They're either splurge, or you'll have the narc that is too tight when it comes to money. Okay? Excuse me. So she got this money. She had over $100,000. You would think, now keep in mind, I'm not a person that feels that if my friends have money that they have to spend anything on me. But this is someone who I have given food to, shelter. I mean, did her hair for free. I mean, you name it, I've done everything for this girl. Took clothes off my back to give to her so she can perform, when she needed to perform at churches and sing, and she didn't have nice clothes to wear. I would take my nice clothes and give it to her. And I've done all these different things. You think that if I had $100,000 and I had a friend that did all these nice things for me, I wouldn't at least have taken them out to dinner? This girl got over $100,000 and she completely disappeared. I didn't even see her. I remember she called me up one night. She actually ended up buying a a BMW. And she calls me up one day and she's like, oh, come outside. This is what the narcissist does. She just wanted me to come outside so I can see her brand new BMW. Me being, codependent, me being foolish, I'm not thinking she's trying to, up me one or try to show off. I'm not thinking that. So I come out. I'm a person, like, when I see my friends upgrading, I'm happy for them. So I come outside and I see that she has this BMW, and I'm like, okay, well, congratulations. So I know that she started to date a guy, and I told her, be very careful, because a lot of times you date people, they're not really with you, because they like you. They're with you because you got money. And what does this narc do? She started splurging money on this guy. Her car ended up getting keyed up because of this guy. He had other women. She ended up getting an STD from this guy. I mean, this guy took her through a whirlwind. So don't think that narcs don't get things, get their karma, or bad things don't happen to narcs. Bad things happen to narcs all the time, because narcs have horrible judgment of people. Okay? They don't have any people skills. They don't have any spiritual discernment at all. These are people with demons inside of them. Okay? Anyway, so I remember one night she said, can you drive with me, ride with me to Long Island? There was a cheesecake factory out there at the time. So I said, okay, cool. Now keep in mind, this is what these narcs do. You are their little errand boy or their little errand girl. This girl, it probably was about a good hour drive to get to Cheesecake Factory. I'll never forget, the weather wasn't too good that night. It was either snowing or raining. We get all the way to Long Island, to Cheesecake Factory, and she's ordered steak and stuff like that, cheesecakes and all these different things for this guy and his cousin. Okay? Keep in mind, you asked me to come out of my house. This girl buys food, didn't even turn to me and say, oh, Angie, do you want a slice of cheesecake? Are you thirsty? This girl bought me nothing. Didn't even offer. It's not really about someone having to buy, but you ask me to come out of my house late at night to take an hour drive with you to a restaurant, and you don't even offer me anything. I would have never did that to any of my friends. Okay? I mean, even if I didn't have enough money to get them something, I would have split my food with them. This is the type of shit these narcs do. They do not care about you. Okay? You are there for them completely. All right? So she began to, still was dating this guy. Her money is running out now. Her money is running out. This guy is using her. And, her money runs out and the guy leaves her, okay? The guy leaves her alone, and in order to get his attention, she tries to attempt to, like, commit suicide. All right, so who does she call when she's trying to commit suicide? Of course, she calls Angie. Everybody calls Angie, right? So I get a call from her. I was at my god sister's house at the time, and I get a call. I'm gonna say maybe like around 11 o'clock at night. I get a call from her. She sounds drunk on the phone, and I say, "Well, where are you?" And she says, "Oh, I'm in a hotel in Brooklyn." And she says the hotel's name. I think it was like a Red Roof or something like that. She says, "I'm at a hotel in Brooklyn, and I have Belvedere vodka." And she said she had some kind of pills. And I said, "Well, what kind of pills is it?" I don't remember if she told me the name of the pills that she was taking, but I know she was definitely drunk. So let me tell you how good God is. This is the true story. I stay on the phone with her, and I get my god sister to call 911 on her cell phone. And then I switch phones, and I'm on the phone with the police. The police told me they were going to go to the hotel, and they did. They went to the hotel, and they said, "Listen, there's about 100 rooms here. We're not going to knock on 100 rooms. We're going to knock on a couple of rooms. And if we find her, we'll take her in. We'll get her evaluated. We'll get the help she needs. But if we can't find her, I don't know what to tell you." So at this moment, I'm panicking. I'm like, "Oh my gosh." Of course, I used to love this girl. So I'm like, "Oh my God, my friend is going to die tonight. I don't know what kind of pills she took. She told me she drank a whole bottle of Belvedere vodka." Like, I'm freaking out. My god sister's freaking out. And let me tell you how good God is. Do you know the third door that they knocked on was her hotel room? They got into the hotel room, and they did find her, and she was in the psych ward for about 2 weeks. After the 2 weeks was up, I get a phone call from her, and you would think she would say, "You know what? I'm sorry, Angie, I put you in that situation. Sorry that you went through that. I'm doing all right. Thank you for your help." This girl calls me to say, "It's all your fault. Because you called 911, my car had to go to the pound, and I don't have the money to get it out. This would have never happened if you did not call the police. I would have never went into the psych ward if you didn't call the police on me." It was the most disgusting thing that I mean, one of the most disgusting things that a narcissist has ever done to me. I really, after that, I did not talk to her for a long time. I mean, my friends and family were in shock. They could not believe that this girl literally blamed her suicide attempt on me. And instead of her seeing, "Oh, I tried to kill myself, this is why my car got towed," she took all of that and blamed it on me. You're always the blame to the narcissist, okay? You're always the blame. You're always the blame. Both of our mothers died. When my mother died, was she there for me? Of course not. She wasn't there for me when my mom died. No. Not the same way that I was there for her. They never, ever support you. When my grandmother died 3 years ago, and when I found out what narcissism was, is when I finally cut this girl off. This girl was always jealous of me. The narc is always jealous of you, and you were always their competition. When she came into came into her $100,000. I never asked that girl for anything, okay? When my grandmother died and I inherited her home, and of course, naturally, you know, me and my uncle and my cousins, you know, we got life insurance policies and things like that. That narc, Tina, had the nerve to ask me, can I take her to Miami with me? Keep in mind, I never told anybody how much money my grandmother left me. She didn't even leave me much, okay? Now, if she left me much, would I have gone to a trip to Miami? I would have been in the Caribbean somewhere, okay? This girl had an attitude with me because after all I did, taking care of my grandmother, because she had cancer, okay, it took her about a year to, you know, transition. After all I went through, this girl had the nerve to think I should have took her to Miami with me. Did you help me take care of my grandmother when she was sick, when she was dying from cancer? These narcs are insane. They feel entitled even to your shit. And try to make you feel guilty about it. Had the nerve to even tell other people, oh, I don't see why she couldn't take me with her to Miami. But she invited her best friend. Are you serious? This is someone who came into over $100,000 and didn't even take me to dinner. But this girl really thought in her mind that I was supposed to take her with me on vacation. These people are crazy. You know, I mean, the jealousy of me being a homeowner, and her living in the projects, you know, all these different things. This girl ended up getting pregnant by some random man who got her knocked up and ran off. So stop thinking narcs live these wonderful lives. No, this girl's life is a fucking tragedy. Okay? A tragedy. Everything about me she wanted to be, which is sad, you know, and she had awesome talent. Some of these narcs are very talented, but they don't do anything with their talent. Okay? And if they do, they end up in some type of corruption over it. Someone who can sing like Whitney Houston could have been signed to a record label, or singing in lounges and club and making money, you know. This girl did nothing with her life. She's living in a project. She has a baby by a guy who left her. I hear now there's another man living with her in the projects. It's just sad. It's unbelievable. They have no ability to really make something of themselves. Once she told me, I need you to be in the delivery room with me. And at that time I was studying what the Jezebel spirit and narcissism was. I cut her off. I said, if this girl used me as just a single person on her own, can you imagine when she has this child? She'll be trying to drop her kid off at my house. And that's what made me cut her off. And I didn't fully grasp the whole spiritual element of narcissism, and that this was a demonic possession over these people at the time. And I still was able to let her go. And it was funny because her due date was, my birthday is August 15th. Her due date was August 15th. And this girl, and you know, this narc was so freaking selfish. She had the nerve to ask me, as if I got her pregnant, can I be in the delivery room with her when she was giving birth? She didn't ask any of her siblings. She didn't ask anyone else, you know, and she treated her grandmother like crap. A lot of these narcs talk to their parents like shit, talk to their grandparents like crap. Even the people who treat them really, really well, the only people who love them and care for them, they treat like crap. You're always the narc's competition. The narc is never your friend, okay? You are only their supply. Their supply for food, for shelter, for friendship. I mean, just as something as small, it could be a narc will use you just to like make them look good, have somebody to hang out with, have someone to look good on their arm. That's how low these narcs are. Watch out for those friends who are always trying to be like you, who are always trying to compete with you, or even those business, colleagues, business partners, and your have a hard time with that word sometimes. Business partners and employees and co-workers, people who are always in competition, people who are always seeming like they're trying to compete with you. There's healthy competition, and then there's competition of people who are trying to literally destroy you. And man, it's sad. It's really, really sad that some of these narcs, their lives turn out to be shambles. And I'm in a way better position than she is, and a lot of the narcs that were in my life. All right, stay away from those haters. Stay away from those people who try to compete with you. I will continue to do more videos. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and donate to my PayPal. I really appreciate all of you. Talk to you soon. Peace and blessings.